The U.S. workforce has 4 different generations all working together. Just imagine that. It's kind of like a family reunion at Thanksgiving. It's brutal. Phillip Andrew Barbb is the author of All the Reasons, I love this title, All the Reasons I Hate My 28-Year-Old Boss. He is here now with how to bridge that generational gap. Phillip, good morning.
Thank you for having me. This is fantastic.
I hope you are coming with some solutions for us, and this book talks about this. What is the issue here with the ages and everything else and how they can get along or why they don't get along?
I think there's a bit of human nature to always feel like the way that we were raised, the way that we came up, the things that we enjoy, the movies we like are the right ones that everybody should like.
Right.
So we have that ego and that identity wrapped around it. So then when there's people that are outside of that, it's easy to like congregate with our people and look at the others and be like, these kids these days.
I'd say, get off my lawn.
100%. I'm waiting for that day. I'm waiting for the day where I can just, yell at the kids.
The day is here for me. I kind of enjoy the day.
There you go.
Who would you say gets discriminated more, young workers or older workers? Because if you're not in that kind of that middle ground where you're in like right in the middle of your career, there's discrimination on both sides.
It's tough. And I was actually going to say, as a millennial, it's obviously us. Obviously, we're the ones that
are you a millennial?
It's so difficult for us out there. No, the truth is, there's a lot of, they have, 2,100 cases every single year of age discrimination in the workplace. Lots of people experience this. But we are at a spot where, by 2020, 35% of the global workforce is going to be millennials. Wow. So we've got, as you mentioned earlier, the 4 generations all working together. It does create an interesting dynamic. So I think there are people that at the young end are, hey, I grew a beard just so people would take me more seriously. So, but there was that part of, I think there are people that are experiencing it on both ends, and we have to see it as not just a global issue, but individually on a case by case. How can people win back the workplace?
And I think we've noticed over the last 10, 15 years or so with the advent of the Twitters and the Instagram and the Facebooks, you're seeing these very, very young CEOs and owners of companies and like
some of these companies,
the median age
it's
super young.
29, 30, 31 for some of these tech companies, and it can be disheartening for people, especially as we have people that are now working longer. It's not the old days of you work at a company for 45 years. I'm originally from Metro Detroit, where that was kind of a big thing. You work for one of the auto industry, and boom, that's the next.
That's your career.
That's your whole career. And so those days are kind of over for a lot of people, and it can make interesting dynamics as people shift going from one company to the next.
So solutions in terms of bridging this gap. Teamwork is important, but how do we get there? Teamwork, it seems it's easier said than done.
100%.
How do we get there?
It almost seems too obvious, right? To say we have to work together. But it's the little conversations. It's the joking comments with our coworkers at the water cooler. It's the in a meeting, where are we letting people sit? Where do are we including people? Are we putting all the people at one end of the spectrum at the head of the table and other people at the bottom? And it's mixing with one another, so that we all can so people can feel we need to, like, there is hierarchy for a reason in companies, right? We need leadership, but leadership are the ones who need to be modeling the proper behavior.
I think people assume when you start a job, there's a learning curve to that job, but also if you've been at a certain job for a while, you get a promotion, you become management, you become a boss, there's a learning curve to that job as well.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of people maybe don't recognize that.
Well, and I think there are times where we can get, as we move through our career, right? When we're in our early 20s, there's a lot of times where that's the most important thing going on in our lives.
Of course.
We're trying to grow, we're trying to learn, we are all in. And then, we get wives and husbands and kids and practice, and we move through, and all of a sudden now maybe work is
your priorities.
Exactly, right?
Completely,
and so we have to remember that different people have different priorities in the workplace, but we all have a place, and we all have something that we can learn and get from one another.
It's good stuff. I wanted to get to experienced employees should act as mentors, which is important, but the younger people also have to be receptive to
100%.
that, because sometimes that doesn't happen. They get defensive. I know everything, and they don't open themselves to mentoring, if you will.
Well, a lot of times what also happens is you have a lot of kids that are coming out of school that are so used to the school atmosphere of the teacher tells me something, and I'm here to listen to the teacher, and so when the teacher wants me to know something, they'll just tell me. So they sit back and they hang back. But I've had so many conversations with college students, recent college graduates, that they want to have a mentor. They really wish somebody would come along, but they don't want to bother. They don't want to be a burden. They don't know how to necessarily ask for that, and they don't want to seem like they were a bad hire. So a lot of times they sit there and they're like, somebody please come and save me, save me.
And again, for that mentorship, you have to click. And if you don't have that click, then it won't work as a, but there's a lot of good information in this book. It's just the title alone. All the reasons I hate my 28-year-old boss. I mean, you're not that much older than 28, but it's a good, you perceive a lot of interesting things in this, don't you?
You know, I was as a television producer, when I came into my career, I was on set at 23 years old with people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and I benefited massively from being able to learn and take in from them.
That.
And so it's made all the difference for me.
Phillip Andrew Barbb, thank you very much. We appreciate the time. I'm going to go take a nap now. See, 'cause you said you're not a morning person, neither am I, ironically. Thank you, Phillip. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.